Welcome to the Dysfunction Junkies podcast. We may not have seen it all, but we've seen enough. And now, here are your hosts, Chrisy and Kerry.
Hello, junkies. I'm Kerry.
And I'm Chrisy.
Chrisy found a really good video that's going to be our topic of conversation today.
Yeah, it stuck with me.
Yes, it's all about the youngest child.
Yes.
Which all of us here are the youngest child.
Yes.
So we are going to post this video on our Facebook page, but we'll reference it, things that they talk about. But if you want to see the whole thing of where this inspired from, check us out on our Facebook page, Dysfunction Junkies. I think it shares also to our Instagram page. We could probably post it on YouTube too. But anyways, we're sharing it. It was somebody else's creativity, but it inspired us. So.
It did. And a lot of it struck me.
Yes.
Correctly.
Yes. Same
in the
here.
right place. Not all of it, but some of it.
Right.
So I'm the youngest of three.
Mm-hmm.
You're the youngest of?
I'm the youngest of four, and both you and I have a...
you're five.
Five. That's right. That's right. I was thinking I have four sisters.
You do.
Yeah,
I got you. I got you. Yes.
Yeah. But there's also a big age gap. You know, my older sisters are very close together, like, you know, a year and a half apart. And then there's like 14 or 12 years or something. And then me. So what about you? You're similar.
Similar. Very similar. Yeah. Mine, the oldest siblings are, they're sisters. They're just 3 years apart.
Yeah.
And then there's like almost 12 years and almost 10 years.
Yes.
Between my age and theirs.
Right. And DJ Nick, he's the youngest.
Yes, so like you, all I have is sisters. I am a boy, and so I'm a little different, right? Because it's just, you guys are all girls.
Right, all girls.
All girls and one boy, and I'm also the youngest. But my sister's a little closer. My oldest sister is about a little over 11 years older than me, and then they go 8, 7, and 4 years older than me.
So your closest sibling is only 4 years older than you.
Yes.
Yeah, so a little bit different, but still same concept.
Yes.
And I think we all agree being the youngest is the best position in the family.
I think so.
I do too.
Especially, I'm sorry, I like the age difference.
Yeah.
We had talked about it for a little bit in an earlier episode as far as getting the same stuff. That didn't hit me. Now, you had a different experience,
yes,
but it hit me where that wasn't a problem until we were all adults.
Right.
At the same, finally, when I made it to that point. But being younger, they just couldn't pass that off. But your family figured out a way to do it.
Yeah, my family did it anyways.
Yeah.
They're like, put it in your hope chest. It doesn't matter that you're 6 years old. You need this fitted sheet that you can have in a quilt that you can put in their box,
You'll
whatever.
want this when you become an adult. Yes.
I got no hand-me-downs, by the way.
Oh!
That's probably
that's a perk.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. But one of this video was really interesting because it was saying about the youngest child is the strongest. And one of the lines that really resonated with us, both of us, was in this video. It says, the youngest child sees the cracks in the family that no one wants to acknowledge. And that, I know when I heard that part, I was like, oh, amen.
Well, I always said that I was a silent observer.
Yes.
When you're the youngest.
You have said that.
And you establish these assholes are crazy. They be crazy. Cray, total. But you sit there quietly and watch them unfold.
Yeah.
And it's fun sometimes, but sometimes not.
Yes. Just laughing at your facial expressions right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good video. And I know every position of the child. Like you've got the older kids have how they feel, and the middle child and how they feel. I mean, we could do the whole gamut, but we're all the youngest, so we're talking about the youngest. So
yes, we are. So this is about the youngest.
Yes.
Maybe if you're not the youngest, you can sit back and enjoy our take on being the youngest.
Yes.
And the one thing that I do feel there is a huge difference for me, and you maybe experience the same thing. I don't know that Nick did so much because his age differences were a little bit better staggered. There wasn't a huge gap.
Right.
But the experience that my sisters had was, and I think this is true pretty much when most people are planning to have their families, they kind of all have their friends and they're all kind of experiencing the same type of place in life about the same time. Right. So they got married, a year or 2 or 3, they start having their family. So everybody's sort of having kids together, and then they kind of get together all the time with their kids who are all about the same age. Right. They're sort of at the same point with their jobs. They're starting out with their careers, trying to, get ahead and really focus on that, but also the family with the fun but when you're born about 12 or 13 years after they've been married and there's that age difference, they kind of already are established in their careers most of the time. And those friendships was important to them to sort of get together and have a good time with your kids together. That disappears.
Yes. Now everyone's gone their ways, kind of.
Pretty much. Yes. And they've probably made more new friendships because of their job changes, their career. And, I didn't go hang out with my parents' friends who had kids my age. Right. Usually I just got told, we're going out with our friends tonight and you can stay home. Yeah. And watch TV, which I did. Thank you.
Yeah. And when you did have to have like a babysitter, it was usually some older person, you know what I mean? Where if you were in that first set of kids, it was your other mommy friends. And so if, they were going to watch the kids or whatever, watch your siblings or whatever, they were all, your mommy friends that might have watched them, where then you get to us and it's like, oh, we're going to shuffle you off to the elderly lady next door with the Lego set, and you have to sit in that living room and only play with that and don't move and because they're not used to having kids, you know? So that was kind of a different thing too, is like my babysitters were often the old lady next door,
I went to the lady next door. At the time, she was not the old lady next door. She was a very nice lady. She took care of me. Mostly on New Year's. We touched on that too. They seemed to feel that leaving me alone was the better choice than leaving me with my older sisters. I cannot tell you when I was ever like legitimately babysat by them.
Yeah, my sisters were all married and gone, so they weren't around really to babysit me. So that's whenever the occasion, and it didn't happen often, but if I did need to have a babysitter, it was like one of their friends, which was an older person, or the old lady next door, she would watch me.
Yeah. No, they seemed to think I was okay on my own. Which I was okay with.
Because you would just sit in front of the TV.
They just knew this one seems to be enamored with that box. Just put her in front of it and we can go for quite a while as long as the TV keeps going.
So your parents would have been okay with all the screen time.
Oh, there wasn't even a thought.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Not only were they okay with
it.
They would slap me really close to it too, because they didn't want me to have anything in my peripheral vision that would distract me from the television. So generally I was up tight with that box. Yeah. Me and that box were like, this, sister.
I guess because we grew up, I grew up on a very, at the time, very desolate road that only had a few houses. It was kind of on the outskirts of town, which had 2 graveyards on the road. I guess they were worried about just leaving me home alone there. Plus, we had that ghost in the house. So, the ghost wasn't qualified to babysit.
Was it? Are you sure? I really feel, we've talked about this before too. It should have been holding up its end somewhere. Yeah, really. At least it could have done something if it was, the squatter that it was. You seem to not be able to boot it out, so. But, well, no, I can see you were sort of, I guess, parents generally told me don't open the door for anybody, which I didn't think we should open the door for anybody at any time.
Chrissy wouldn't let anyone in her inner sanctum.
No, it's just like, why are we answering? Because back then, that was the time they make a joke. We've seen the one comedian, Sebastian Maniscalco, made a whole thing about how people act now when they hear somebody at the door. It's like, oh, why did somebody invite someone? Did somebody ask someone what's going on? But even then, when you kind of were curious to see who was at the door and happy to open it, even then I was just like, no, don't open that. Who knows what they're selling or how long they're going to take me away from television. So just don't open the door. The one thing they also did tell me, though, was don't use the oven. Oh. But it's like, well, if you didn't want me to use the oven, you didn't leave me anything to eat. What am I supposed to do? Chow down fudgicles. I was allowed to open the freezer. Soy fudgicles. You know what I did used to do? I rebelled, though. We had an electric oven, but I figured out that I could toast marshmallows on it.
Oh. On the electric oven?
Yeah, if you turn that damn thing up high enough, that burner gets real hot. You can crisp that shit up real quick. Get me some marshmallows. I was camping. Nobody else was there, but I had nice marshmallows.
Oh my God. You were making s'mores?
No, I just did the marshmallows. The s'more thing, because we didn't camp.
Yeah, that's right. You weren't, yeah.
So the s'more thing was a new thing for me. We just had marshmallows. Nobody ever bought the graham crackers or the chocolate. That was rude.
Or they did eat it, or they did buy it and you ate the chocolate before you realized it was for something special.
Probably. They're like, oh, we're going to make s'mores now. What's left? Just the marshmallows. Oh, I'll just do that then. So what about you? Were you babysat there, Nick?
So not really, because my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And, I don't want to sound like, it was all such a poor girl. But we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so my parents weren't really going out a lot.
Yeah, same.
Actually, I don't really recall my sisters babysitting me too much because they didn't have to. Because my mom was home. Or my dad was home. Because there was a time, too. Because, one of the things you talked about, how, when you came along, your parents were pretty settled into their jobs. My dad actually lost his job. He was one of those people that lost their job in a steel mill in Youngstown in the late 70s. So we didn't have a lot growing up. And, he had some jobs, but nothing that was as significant as that. So, no, it's a little bit different, even though they were closer in age, my siblings, but my mom was pretty much a stay-at-home mom until I went to probably junior high. And then she went back into the workforce. So.
Okay. Yeah. My parents went out a lot. My father he was a Freemason, so he had his lodge that he liked to go to. My mother, they would go to events together a lot. One thing I do still miss is they used to go out, especially like they'd go to weddings, and they would bring me back like the cookies, because the Youngstown cookie table was a big deal.
Big deal.
So they usually would bring me back a ton of cookies or maybe a piece of cake. And the one thing I did develop a taste for, and I really do, some really sick part of me misses, they would always come back, the food would come back sort of tasting like an old cigarette. I miss the old cigarette cookie because the frosting just absorbed that, like, totally.
Burnt.
And they came, and my parents did not smoke, but they came home smelling like smoke,
right?
Because everybody else did. We're talking late 70s, early 80s.
Yep.
And the scent of your parents out for the evening was, they smelled of smoke, even though they didn't, and your food that they brought you back
tasted of an ashtray.
Oh, yeah.
Hinto ashtray.
And I liked it. I was like really into it. I'm very nostalgic for that. It's hard to get that because it takes a lot to get that sort of flavor in the food.
That is so funny, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes. My parents didn't go out much either, but usually when I do remember, for whatever reason, when they would, because my one sister that is the closest in age, she was like in high school when I was in middle school. And when they would do parent teacher night at her school at the high school, I do remember that was always a night that I did not go. They didn't tag me along for that night. So that was always a babysitter night. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah.
How we remember these little things.
So my sisters had all these stories about people and relatives. The other thing was, by the time I came around, people passed away that were part of their childhood. So I don't have a real good recollection. Some people were sick and on their way out, so I don't have any good recollection of those people being healthy or mobile. I had a grandfather who my sisters had my dad's father.
Yeah.
He sounded wonderful.
Yeah.
But by the time I came around, he had some strokes. So he was paralyzed on one side of his body. He was a bad diabetic. So I didn't get that experience of having the great fun with him. And the other thing I heard a lot was, they would refer to some people as like, oh, aunt or uncle so-and-so.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know them as that. And I always kind of got mad I'm like, they're not my aunt or uncle. They chose divorce, so they're out.
Yeah.
I don't care. Well, and I'd be like, no, not for me. But the other thing I used to get, which is kind of offensive, but I was like, I don't give a shit, whatever. People would come up to me and my mom would be like, oh yeah, I have Chrissy here with me. And they'd be like, she's the, oh, my baby. Yeah, this is my baby. It'd be called the baby a lot, especially by my father.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh, I remember your other two sisters. I don't remember you.
What?
And I'd be like, who the hell are you? I don't remember you either. But they would say that because they remembered the other two probably because they were part of the first generation crew where they were all hanging out.
Yeah.
So did you ever get anything like that?
I didn't necessarily get where people didn't remember me, but they associated me. Oh, you're part of the family, with all the sisters. Like they would know my other sisters. And so they would name, whichever one that they went to school with or was in cheerleading with or high school with or whatever. And they'd be like, oh, you're part of them. And I'm like, wait, but they're part of me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What's that all about?
Exactly. So one of the other things in the video that it said was about how the youngest feel deeply and feel like it's their job to hold it all together, like hold the family together. And that resonated with me because there being such an age difference, I remember growing up where I was always like, because my sisters were out of the house mostly by the time, I was old enough to more be an adult or me, on a more of an adult level. They were already gone. They were already married. They were already having kids. So I remember my whole life, I was always like, I couldn't wait to have sisters because I felt like even though I had sisters, I didn't have sisters because they were married and gone. And so I was like, oh, well, when I get to be an adult, we'll all be the same age. I'll get to have this family of sisters. And it's just like, life didn't put it out that way, because there was too much age difference. And then geographically, we were in different spaces. And then they never really got to know me, but they all knew each other because they were only 2 years apart. So I always kind of felt like, I always said I grew up an only child in a big family because that's how I felt.
Oh, I felt like an only child too.
Yeah.
Now, I was going to ask, I bet you probably, DJ Nick, never heard anybody say, I don't remember you. Probably because, one, you were the only boy.
Right.
But also, I just don't think that your family probably... Nick's family strikes me as the type that everybody is very important.
Yeah.
And on an equal level.
Oh, yeah. No. I would say that. Yeah. I mean, see, here's the thing. There's a definite, I don't know, call it a line of demarcation where things really change. But my parents died. They, again, another sob story. You can feel sorry for me again. And I think we've talked about this. I've lost my parents 3 months apart. I was technically an adult. I was 19, almost 20. And I think things changed after my oldest sister, Tom, was only 30 when we lost, both of our parents. So I think that it definitely changed. And so to Kerry's point about that need to keep the family together, I think there was that strong sense of that. And I think it was a dying wish of my mom because my dad died before my mom. And then, she always wanted us to stay together. And, we haven't always been successful. There were times where we were not getting along and that happens. And so I think, today we're all on pretty good terms. But
you probably had more of a weight on your shoulder, too, being the only boy.
Well, but I was actually going to say quite the opposite.
Really?
I didn't feel like you felt that having to keep the family together. I think because my sisters were already kind of doing that I didn't need to take that on. Now, and geographically, I'm not near the other. My sisters are all closer together. So there's a little bit of a disconnect, I think, and there always kind of has been. And I don't want to go like some psychobabble, down that rabbit hole. But I think because I'm the boy, I'm different. I'm just different.
Right.
And I love my sisters, but I don't think I had to feel that sense of closeness. That I think my mom would really want. But it's just, and I think some of that is geographical. But even when we still lived in the Youngstown area, we still got together for like, even as they were adults, they would still do birthday parties, and I was kind of like over that. But it was really about it for them. It was about getting together. It wasn't really about the birthday party.
Right. But I wonder though, if you would have had a brother, if you would have maybe felt that like how I was like, oh, I can't wait to have my sisters, like if there was a brother, like, where you would have a different feeling. It's just...
maybe. I mean, but I do think that, there is a difference because I'm,
right.
I'm a guy.
Yeah, I do. I think there is a difference there.
I didn't, whereas I think that there's a little bit more of a, not to sound like some outcast or outsider.
No, it's just a difference.
But I think there's a more of a bond because they're sisters.
Yes.
And I'm not, I'm the brother. And,
right.
And I'm also the youngest.
And you were the baby. Yeah. So they had the...
if you would ask them, and if they were on the show today, they would say, oh, he was, the baby boy, he was spoiled rotten.
Right.
To which my instant retort is always, there's a fine line between spoil and torture. So whatever.
This could be true.
So I think there's definitely some different dynamics.
Yes.
But I didn't have that need like you did to keep it together, like that author talks about. And I think it's because my older sisters were doing it.
Yeah.
And they probably had it out of some type of necessity because my parents were gone.
Exactly. That was the different dynamic there. So my family, everything was still stable. So everyone was just moving on with their lives. But I was felt like I wasn't added into that, because there was such an age difference. So
I don't know what any of you are talking about right now.
Because Chrissy was all about Chrissy.
I was. I didn't feel the need to hold anything together. They were out of the house pretty much by the time I was 9.
Uh-huh.
So there was, and I didn't, because there was an age difference, I didn't have to share any of my stuff.
Right.
Nor would I have wanted to. And I don't want to say my parents were selfish. I don't want to use that word.
Right.
But they were determined to have their time.
Right.
To do what they wanted, especially my father.
Right.
But my mother too. And I wasn't demanding of that because I liked attention, and I wanted them to give me, but not so much the attention, the things.
Yes.
I want stuff.
Right.
So, again, I will sit here, I will be quiet, I will watch TV, but make sure I have a good TV. Make sure we have cable. Make sure I have a VCR, because sometimes I want to watch a video or record something.
And a membership to Blockbuster or whatever movie plays at the time.
And so, I just sort of didn't feel that need. I do appreciate, even as I became an adult, the time that I had with my parents. It didn't involve my older sisters. We used to go over on Sunday mornings when we, even before we had kids.
Yeah.
Because we waited a while to have kids. And we would have Sunday morning with my mom and dad. My sisters were not there. They weren't real mobile in the morning, I don't think. But they had...
they had their own life.
Well, they had their own lives, and my one sister did already have children.
Yeah.
But we didn't have kids yet, and so I always hold that, and I'm so grateful that I had that.
Yeah.
Because I kind of I hate to say this, and I don't mean anything, well, maybe I do. I really liked sort of blocking out, and just, because again, I'm a selfish person, so therefore they were mine.
Yes.
And they were only mine.
And you didn't have to share them.
No. And I, for the most part.
Yeah.
My father helped with that. And I'm wrong, I'm sure, but maybe not.
No.
I kind of always felt like his favorite. And my mom always tried to make sure that she loved everybody equal, and I'm sure she does.
Yeah.
I just sort of appreciated having time with my dad. And there were times where he was real sweet, and he always referred to me as his baby. And
those are the good memories to hang on to and to cherish.
Yeah.
That's what gets you through some of the rough times.
Right.
Yes.
There was also, and we can post this too if I can find the video again, that I found it kind of went along with this. Nick's going to help me with the doctor's name, but I found what he was talking with a lady about the sibling thing and sibling experiences. Nick, say this French guy's name.
Dr. Gabor Mate.
It had one of those squiggly lines over the vowel, the E at the end. And then Nick brought it up, which I found ridiculous. Did not take French.
Well, you'd have to take French to know it.
I don't think we did that. I had Italian. We didn't. The squiggle line went one way. In Italian. Am I wrong, Italian people or people who speak Italian? Or maybe we can get some listeners over in Italy. Help me out here. The squiggle went one way. In French, you said that it depends on which flipping way it goes.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Give them your fancy goddamn words you use.
If it goes up, I don't know. If it goes up to the right, it's called accent aigu. And if it goes to the left, it's accent grave. That's French.
I grovel for eggs. That's all I heard.
So the A go over top of the E makes it sound like a long A sound, like say. Never mind.
And now it's our French lesson for today.
That was a French lesson. But what the doctor said with the squiggly
What
line
did Dr.
going, a
Gabor
goo, a
Mate?
babu, or whatever, was that siblings in the same house, even at the same time, do not have the same experience.
Amen. Yes.
And he
Yes.
gets into more detail about that. But so even though I was like, well, of course we didn't have the same experience because we really weren't growing up in the same time period.
Right.
We weren't going through sort of a similar age at the same time. So I, of course, didn't have the same experience, nor did they with me.
Right.
But he was stressing that even siblings who are close in age and in that household with those parents at the same time, their experience is also not the same.
Amen. 100% agree with that.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yes.
So.
Because I think also part of that is when we're all human. And so we all have our own personalities. So, even when you start going into, we've talked about like, okay, the babies and how we are, you have that first child, second child. And we've joked about this even with my grandchildren because my granddaughter's second, well, she's really third, but there's, again, a space and difference, but she's growing up 1 and 2 with my grandson and her. And so she's got that typical second child syndrome that's very like outgoing. She's not fearful. She's just, all out there, And so when you've got a different personality like that, it causes differences in how your parents react and how you treat. So how you treat the child that's calm or quiet compared to how you treat the child that's climbing up the walls and doing things. Yes, it's going to be different parents, different parenting styles, different responses. So, And then you add in age difference, time difference, job differences, and all the other things. So it's why we're all dysfunctional.
Yes.
So
there, meh.
So
your experience was not my experience, but you're older than me, so ha 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 ha.
But my experience is more important, right?
Absolutely.
According to Chrisy.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to hold it all together. That line I totally disagree with. We saw the cracks. Yeah, major cracks.
Yes.
Like I said.
Yes.
But I didn't feel the need to hold anything together. Not at all.
See, I did. I definitely felt that way. But, oh my. Well, this was fun. We'll have to find more of these things and maybe dive down, the older child, middle child, and just compare it.
I'm not doing the older and the middle child thing because I'm not. And now Kerry might be interested in your experience. I'm not.
And this is where, are you a Chrisy or a Kerry?
Yes. Good or bad, evil or a saint. Yeah.
I'm not a saint.
Neither am I. If you're not, I sure as hell am not.
Oh. Well, be sure to check out our Facebook page. We're going to post these videos that we've been talking about today. They're just kind of interesting, good food for thought. We're also, if you want to check out our website, dysfunctionjunkiespodcast.com, you will learn all about our Junkies Care initiative for the month of November. We are supporting Sleep in Heavenly Peace, a national organization with chapters all across the country whose goal is to provide every child a bed. We're really excited about sharing their mission and sharing their information, so please check that out. And other than that, we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.